Good morning.
Good morning.
How's everyone?
Good
Doing
morning.
well. How are you?
Okay. It is 10 o'clock, but we'll wait a few minutes for others to join. No more people are joining, so we'll wait another couple of minutes.
Mhm.
Morning.
Good morning. Thanks for joining.
Yes, sir. How you guys doing today?
Doing fine, doing fine. Just working hard at this project.
Sound like it's gonna be a nice chunk to chew on for a little bit.
Yeah,
Pretty huge task, I'd imagine.
yeah, we're working hard at it. We're working hard at it, believe me.
I have to leave for a second or two. I'll be right back in about 2 minutes.
Okay, Elaine. We'll get started very shortly here. It is about 10:05, so why don't we go ahead and get started? I know everyone has a busy day ahead of them. First of all, I want to say good morning. My name is John Wood. I'm an associate with Phillips West Public Relations and Communications. And before we get started, I want to acknowledge Miss Carrie Stapleton. She's the president and owner of Phillips West. But I also would like to introduce my co-convener for this session, Miss Courtney Clark. She's a project manager with Griffin and Strong for the 2026 Kansas City Disparity Study. Following my brief opening remarks, there will be a QR code on one of the slides that will remain on the slide during the presentation. As a part of ongoing efforts to ensure equity and access, Kansas City, Missouri engaged Griffin and Strong to perform a comprehensive and legally supportable disparity study that meets the judicial test for constitutional strict scrutiny and by other criteria required by applicable law. The courts have stated that strict scrutiny is a standard of judicial review for race-conscious programs. The disparity study will collect essential data to assess whether all qualified firms in the market area have equal opportunities to compete for and participate in the city's procurement of prime contracts and subcontracts. The purpose of this session is to hear candid testimony about your experiences, both positive and areas of concern in doing business with the city, attempting to do business with the city, or your reasons for not having attempted to do business with the city. Griffin and Strong is not interested in influencing your expressions whatsoever. Rather, it seeks a clear and honest image of your experiences. As a reminder, this meeting is being recorded. Everything said during this session will be available for public record, and all your comments are going to be taken down, recorded, and summarized for use in this study. Griffin and Strong's final report, however, will not publish the names, business names, or other affiliations of individuals who give testimony. At this session, we are not soliciting questions, but commentary only. Additionally, we will not be responding to questions or commentary. However, I may ask questions to gain additional clarity to your comments. I will invite volunteers one by one to give their experiences and opinions. Any objections or similar experiences that other participants would like to share are encouraged, but should wait to be queued in before sharing. We ask that all participants be treated with courtesy and respect by refraining from interruptions and harsh language. When providing comments, please begin by stating your name and business name clearly for the record before beginning your testimony. Please keep your comments 3 to 5 minutes long so that everyone has time to share. If your comments go longer than 5 minutes, I will wave my hand to let you know to wrap up your comments so that someone else may share. So before we begin, are there any questions about what I just stated? If none, we can now begin taking public testimony. Please raise your hands and so you can be queued in. Who would like to go first?
Sorry, John, I didn't hear everything. What, do you have specific questions that can?
No, well, okay, Elaine, this is commentary only, so we're not taking questions right now. So this is here to hear about your experiences doing business with the city or attempting to do business with the city procurement process. So if you have some comments, we would love to hear them.
Well, I would say in terms of, because is it surrounding the MBWBE process? Is it more specific to the city or around MBWBE process?
This is about the city's procurement, your experiences in dealing with the city's procurement program.
The procurement I changed industries. I started working on changing industries kind of slowly from 2015 to up until 2020 when I changed completely and went from an art-based business to, I guess, that moved more into the construction process. And one of the things I really found is that in terms of MBWBE, so I don't know if it's the broader procurement process or is this specific to more minority process, but really it wasn't valuable until I actually ended up in the industry that was more construction oriented. In terms of a art-based business, it really didn't help at all, honestly. I'm a video producer by trade, as you know, because I produced a project for you. Other than the project I produced for you and a couple of other ones, it really wasn't helpful. It wasn't helpful without relationships or something specific, and even changing industries. I think my thought process went against marketing myself or promoting myself as a minority business. It's almost like it's icing on the cake. Whereas in terms of how I think it was initially promoted to me when I started my business from the very beginning, that this was going to be a help. It wasn't necessarily a help until I changed industries and until I looked at it differently. It didn't really contribute a lot. It contributes more now in term, I think if they're, I don't know how to put this. I think if they're looking for, we focus on the business part of it first. And then, I think having M&W certification pushes it over edge, but in the end, money comes first, relationships come first. And then if that's, or if they have to meet a goal or a need, I still see that they will tend toward me in that regard. But, and then it's from there, it's building the relationship. And then, it's valuable, it's needed, it's necessary. I wouldn't know what it would be like otherwise if majority businesses would still tend to stay with the relationships that they have. So I find it helpful, but it had to be, I had to do things differently. If that's, I don't know how that that comes across, but
Elaine, for the record, we're recording this. I wanted to give them your business name, your name and your business name.
Elaine Hamilton, doing businesses, Innovative Materials.
Okay, thank you.
And
Appreciate
we
it.
do architectural, we provide architectural materials to architectural materials, which would be cabinets, countertops, glass walls, signage, and commercial furniture to developers and multifamily projects and commercial projects.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Appreciate it.
Miss
Who would like-
Hamilton, sorry to interrupt.
ahead.
Miss Hamilton, if I could ask, have you ever done any work specifically with the city?
The last project specifically for the city in terms of providing, the last project I did actually was for John Wood is under Vision 5. We produced a video for him for the this,
The Linwood Shopping Center project.
yeah, Linwood, the Linwood store, when his department, what was your department, John, was,
It was Neighborhoods and Housing Services Department.
yeah, but in terms of working directly for the city, no, not really,
Okay,
not in this capacity.
okay. So you haven't gotten any contracts or anything with them as of yet with your
No.
certification? Okay,
No,
Thank
not
you.
other than John selecting my company for that project.
gotcha. All right, thank you for the clarity.
Would someone else like to?
I can speak. This is Bridget Master. I'm from Southern Pride Disposal.
Go ahead.
And the experience I've had with the city has been very painful, I'll put it. I have been trying to get an MBE with them since September of last year. And to this date, I still do not have an answer, yes or no, if I am qualified or not. The whole process, it's like they're afraid to talk to me in person. It's very hard to identify contacts to call. You can find emails, so you email back or you respond to their system that they have. And it takes months before you hear anything back. So it has been very frustrating. As soon as they make any requests of data, I would supply it within, I think it's about 7 or 10 days they would require it. And I supplied it, and then it would go for weeks again before I'd hear anything. So the whole process has been very frustrating. And like I said, to this day, it's like they don't want to talk to people. It's only been through email and through their system that I've even been able to make any progress.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Anyone else?
I can come on and speak. Hi, I am Latasha Crawford. I'm with Miscellaneous Staffing Services here in Kansas City, Missouri. I do have a contract with the city of Kansas City. My experience has been, kind of up and down. I initially got our certification as a WBE MBE in 2020 or 2021. And I think what's the most tedious thing is to, not just attain the WBE, but to maintain it as well. We have to resubmit the entire process all over again every year. And let's say if I'm late on my taxes or I'm in the process of completing my tax return, well, then my entire certification for the city of Kansas City may be held up due to my tax returns not being filed in a timely manner. And then the domino effect or the consequences of that is risking you lose your certifications, and then you could lose your contract as well. And that's just, one perspective of it, where sometimes I wonder if I was just a regular business, would I would I have to provide anything to the city to keep my contracts? You know, so it could easily serve as kind of a double negative, you know. Another issue sometimes is that when the accounting for the city of Kansas City turns over, then our invoices don't get paid. And so we're a, you know, disadvantaged business. We're a small business, woman-owned business in a disparity area. And so not getting paid at all for over, you know, 2 months puts the city in a, you know, $60,000 to $80,000 in debt to us. And so now we have to operate as a business without any cash flow for 2 months out of every year because their systems are turning over. You know, the accounting systems and the accounting processes in the fiscal year, things of that nature. And so when that occurs, because it does occur, it kind of puts our business in the red for quite some time, even after they have paid their debt to us, and making those particular invoices not very profitable for a few months. And so that's another issue. And then the last issue that I have experienced is that there has been a lack of just consistency with the WBE program. And so I am certified till 2026 or 2027 with the state of Missouri, but not with the city of Kansas City, if that makes any sense. And then last but not least, I've won contracts. I'm on paper for having, like, right now 7 contracts, and there's no utilization of those contracts. So I have one contract that is utilizing us, but as far as well, let me correct myself. I have one contract and one subcontract that is utilizing us, but the other subcontract that we won, and we partnered with another company on the bid, on the same bid that we're actually operating in, they never utilized us, not once. And there's no accountability in that particular process. There's nobody. I've reported it before, and then I received a complete audit. So I just, you know, stopped with that process. But there's no accountability as far as, let's say, if you're not in compliance with the contract terms, or if you won a contract as a sub, then there's no accountability for, you know, the utilization, using us as a company as the subcontractor. And so that's that. I've sent emails, I've sent phone calls, phone records, things of that nature, and still this other company has never used us as a sub.
So let me just get this straight. So you may be a subcontractor with another company on a bid that you won, but you may never be used by that company, and there's no way of the city's accounting for that or following up on that to ensure that you've been utilized.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Someone else?
Yes, sir.
Yes, hello.
Oh, go ahead, Christoph.
Okay, thank you. I'll be quick. My name is Crystal Trust. I'm with IEC Partnership. It is a consulting firm that consults with nonprofits, small businesses. My experience is when I received my certification, I share the sentiments of the previous caller. It's long and laborious, and it is very difficult to talk to someone. I don't think I was able to ever hear a person's voice when I was going through that process, and it was very long and detailed work, not complicated, but detailed work. And if you have a question, it's hard to get your question answered because you have to go back and forth through email, and it takes a long time. So I think that their communication is lacking, as well as the entire process needs to be overhauled. And I'm talking about when you go to get certified. And I think the other thing I would add is I think there needs to be some type of training as to how to actually get a contract with the city. I don't know if that's out there, but I've never received it. And so if that is something that can be added, I think it would be beneficial. But again, it needs to be not laborious, very communicative. And yeah, I think that's it. For me, it's about communication, timeliness. I have experienced late payments. Again, like the previous caller said, so I'm disagreeing with the previous callers. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your comments. Who was the gentleman about to speak?
Yeah, yes, sir. My name is Alex Gonzalez.
You go.
I'm the owner of Gonzalez Construction. Excuse me, we do concrete measuring. Also, I'm the president with the Hispanic Contractors Association. And my experience with the city, when we first got our certification, yeah, I was expecting a quick return, and it took a few months. Then I was expecting. I went to the city, talked to the HR director, Mr. Yelder. I had no idea, something that we don't realize, and I always, give the benefit of the doubt and customer service, etc. We don't know what they're going through. But when I visit them, I learn there's tons of applications coming in for certifications. I mean, they have piles, and they didn't have enough staff. I didn't realize that. When I saw that, and it's a process. They're organized. First off, the application that we did, my ex-wife helped me. She's picky. She didn't leave me no blanks, no applicable, and why. And this is for me, when any other application or my employees, the same thing. I don't want blank spaces. With the city, if you leave a space, if you don't put no applicable and why, they want to put another pile. So it's a process, but they're organized. With us, it took about 6 months, because that's typically the process. If you miss something, they're going to call you, they're going to put it back. That's why it takes longer. That's my couple cents. That's my experience, right? I knew Mr. Mayor Sly James as a good friend of mine. I reached out to him. I said, can we bring more staff? Because when I talked to Mr. Yelder, he told me, Alex, we have so much staff, and we don't have enough budget to cover that. So I talked to Sly James. I talked to Quinton, he's a good friend of mine as well. They've been working in hiring more staff, but it's taking a little while. I say be patient and make sure your application is 100% complete. That's one. On the other hand, my experience as a certified business owner, now dealing with the contracts, dealing with general contractors, that has been challenging. From the beginning, small business, you have to work as a second tier or a third tier. Well, that's the other issue, that the prime, whoever you're working under, the prime, they want to make sure they're making their margins. If they're making 22, 25% margins, they do not want to shrink them. Even for the 20% they're going to give us, they still want to make on the top of that, those 20% or 50%, whatever it is. So I made the decision to move quick, grow quick, so we can go as a prime. We did. Until we start growing, then we hit plateau, because the next issue is to compete with the big guys, right? Our overhead is greater than the guys. So you still have to compete, basically. And with the concrete or contracts, there's not enough small contracts out there to keep us going. So when you talk to these general contractors, you have to bear those big jobs. They don't break it down. I did, as part of being the president of the Hispanic Contractors Association, I've been meeting with Willie from McCall-Gordon. They're working to break those contracts tailored to small contractors. So MBEs had the opportunity to bet those small contracts. And it depends the scope, right? JDAN, they're already doing that. They're tailored for us on the 2 light. They give us a couple of floors. So it depends who you're talking to. It depends the scope of work, right? But what I've been preaching, I guess, in the perfect world, if the general contractor works with a small MBE, if it's a second tier or it's a third tier, make sure that the prime understands that and allow the small MBE, WBE to make their profits, because then we're just surviving. You know, I noticed that, and a lot of my members, this Nunez Flooring, he goes, Alex, I had to renew my certification every year. It's a pain to do every year. On the top of it, we can now work. You have to work as a second tier. So the issues give opportunities as a prime, small businesses, break down contracts, or make sure that the prime understands, you know, you're not want to make you profit on this 15-20% where the MBA is. That'll be a key to move forward. But anyway, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Maria Perez Andujar, and my company is Index Lingua. We do language services. And I started my business in 2004, so that's a bunch of years. And over the years, I have been registering my company with the city as a small and local women's business minority and all this. And in my experience over the years is initially it was very complicated because everything was manual. You have to send all the documents with PDF, or sometimes I would deliver them by hand and things like that. But lately it has been automated in a way that it's a different process. Right now, of course, I'm just renewing. I've been renewing over the years. And what I found out is that I differ from the other people that were talking about this process. I get a month ahead, at least a couple of months ahead, I get an email from a person who reminds me about this process, which I think it normally doesn't happen especially not from the government, that you get reminders that your certification is about to expire. So I think that's good. There's usually the same person that sends the email. I can call, and sometimes they answer, sometimes not. But they do answer eventually. But I find it pretty responsive for whenever I need something from this particular person. Now, the process is very extensive and very, they ask for absolutely everything under the sun. But on the other hand, I understand, because there's no way anybody can say that our business is DEI after you provide absolutely everything, every finances and everything. So it's understandable. So I find also, since this automation is much more, of course, interacting with the system, which I think, because it's recent, it needs to be some of the questions, you can't answer the questions. It needs to be more evolved in order to be literally more efficient in what it does. Because sometimes if it misses a document, it doesn't specify, there's no way to tell them what it is that I'm missing. So, it's taking some time, but I find it, I don't think it is in any, I am okay with the way it is. And the other thing is, they gave me also extra time whenever I can't make it, and I explain that to the system. So I find it pretty benevolent, and in my opinion, it's not so bad. The one thing, though, about procurement with the city that I have experienced is my service is language services, and I understand that the city has a contract with a very large nationwide company. And I have attempted and I never got actually any information about an RFP. I just got that by word of mouth, which was interesting. And when I tried to apply for that, and even though I'm a small business, I do have the capability through partnerships to do business with the city. I found out that so because I subcontract parts of my business, I could not apply. And it has been a hurdle, and the thing that needs to be addressed, because I believe if they do investigate more what it is, how my business model is and everything, they realize that they do have the capacity to serve the cities pretty well. And that was my input today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Someone else?
Yeah, this is
I'd like
Serventi.
to
Sorry, go ahead, Lydia.
Thank
Go ahead.
you. Yes, I'm Lydia Johnson with Employ Direct Group, and I have been trying to receive a certification through the city of Kansas City. It's been in process for over 8 months now. I did try to, since the process was so long of waiting to hear a response back, I did submit a certifications, the MBE and a WBE certification through KCATA. And their response time was quicker as well. So when it was time for me to renew my certifications with KCATA, it's taken about just as long as it has with the city of Kansas City. I'm sorry, with the certification process with Kansas City. So when the KCATA came out and did the site visits, that process it took a while for us to actually get the initial certification, but I thought that the renewal process would be quicker, and it is not. So that, and I do agree that I would like to see like a training session or any webinars on how to receive contracts to the city of Kansas City. And also I normally, when I'm looking for bids, I go under the KCATA diversity compliance website. And I didn't know if that was the same website to look for contracts with Kansas City as well. So I think maybe some clarification on if there's 2 different websites or if they're all linked together, because sometimes I will see a lot of other bids for, let's say, like Synergy or things like that out there too. So just a little bit more organized, like a list of, or like organization or something that helps us know the sites to go to and the links.
So your relationship with the city of Kansas City, have you been certified by the city yet or not?
No, not yet. It's still pending.
Oh, still pending. It's been about 8 months, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are you able to communicate with anyone? Is it mostly through a website or email? Is that how you are mostly communicating?
Yes, I communicate through the website, and I'll send a message through the KCATA portal.
Mhm.
And I did receive a response back, but it was only saying that my message was in queue and that someone would get back with me. And it's been about 3 months and no one still I have yet to receive a response.
Okay. Keep in mind, we're focusing on the city of Kansas City, and ATA may be a little different than Kansas City.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Someone else, please. I think Mr. Sudduth had to step away, but he'll be back. But Miss Lydia Johnson.
I'm actually back.
Oh, okay. Serventi, you go ahead and then Miss Johnson after that. Okay.
All right. My name is Serventi Sudduth with Dubois Consultants. We've been in business for over 30 years, 37 years to be exact. We're civil and structural engineers here in Kansas City. We have a focus on water infrastructure. We do a lot of other commercial work, aviation, you name it. One of our largest clients, of course, is KC Mo. We have many contracts with the city of Kansas City. Some are as prime, others are sub-consultants with some of our partnering strategic firms. I've heard quite a bit on the certification process and how that goes for some of the folks on the call. Our experience is a little bit different. We tend to submit, all of the information needed for renewals and things like that about a month or so prior to the expiration timeline. And so typically, we've been pretty successful with the renewal process when it comes to the MBEs and some of the other certifications that Kansas City has in place. We have several relationships with some of the larger firms around town. We have several, with our presence in Kansas City, we have several relationships with many of the city officials and things like that. Our mix of project pursuits is about 50-50. So about 50% of our work is in the prime arena, and about 50% of that work is as a sub-consultant. The city of KC Mo is responsible for about 60% of our annual revenue. So that says quite a bit. Part of that is because there's a few programs that's in place with KC Mo. One of them is the SLBE program, Small Local Business Enterprise, and that program is geared specifically for the smaller firms, registered firms in town, to pursue contract opportunities directly with KC Mo, and that's in all spaces, whether it's professional services or food and beverage, you name it. There's several opportunities in the SLBE program. And so we've been able to be successful with that involvement from an SLBE perspective. And then, with a lot of the work that we do and some of our strategic partnerships that we have with our partnering firms, we've actually also began to pursue what I would call mid-cap project opportunities, and having a strategic partner bringing some additional resources to the table to increase the potential for success on those projects. And so we're doing that quite a bit more and have been successful at it. And so that's I would say that would be John and folks here on the call. That's our experience with KC Mo.
Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Ms. Johnson?
Oh, I already went. Thank you so much.
Oh, okay. All right, thanks. Who else? Someone else, please.
Can I go, Mr. Woods?
Yeah, please go ahead, Mr. Williams.
Okay, my name is Marcus Williams. I'm with 777 Construction. Thanks for having us. I'm gonna be clear, direct, and cut to the chase. My company, 777 Construction, has been around right at about 3 decades. I came and openly spoke when you guys opened a platform here a couple days ago. But today, what I want to do is I want to speak as it pertains to the simplicity of what I'm trying to say. If a bully, and I want to just talk candidly, if I came to my parent, which was the city, and I said, I'm at school and I'm being bullied, my parent would go up to the school and the parent would talk to the principal or whoever's in charge there. However, here, what the city does, the parent, they empower the bully and give the bully more money, more opportunity to intimidate me, to push me around, to take my lunch money. And so in the most simplest form, the way I can put it, the general contractor, all he has to do or she has to do is make a good faith effort to pretend to like me or to pretend to want to help me. After they made their good faith effort, then they can just push me away in the wind. As a owner, a business owner, we lay everything out on the line. We put our houses up, we put our savings up, we put our insurance up, we put everything out on the line to never even get a call back after we put out millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of bids. I don't have a personal gripe with the city. However, what I want to do is offer a little advice. Don't empower the bully. Why don't you look at you got all of these groups, you got the Fairness Board or whatever, put a structure of accountability together, empower them with some type of certificate or some type of whatever you want to give them, and then make the bully the general contractor, come to the Fairness Board and earn our business, not just give our business away. And so after 30 years of experience, what is let's empower them to tell us, what they want to tell us and take our opportunities and come into the community, and they respect the money, but they don't respect the relationship or the minority contractor. That's all I got.
Are you saying that, I'm just ask a clarifying question, is it good faith effort is not good faith?
I'm saying it's not a good faith effort for the most part. There are very little to few general contractors that I've met in 30 years that makes a real good faith effort. I think what ends up happening is it get washed in politics. They just want to just make a good faith effort. And once they've proven they made a good faith effort, they move forward. And if they give a minority contractor somewhat of an opportunity, it's the one they have in their pocket. It's the one that they sit down and have private budgetary meetings with. This is the person who probably have been infused with over $10 million worth of work, and so they're getting a good deal from the general contractor. So that particular prime or that roofer or whoever that subcontractor is, of course, we're not going to be able to beat that person's number because that person have a pipeline worth of work. And so, yeah, that's all I have. Unless I can answer any question. I've been at this for 30 years, and I will tell you, Kansas City is kind of like a mafioso town. It's cliquey. And if you get to speaking like I'm speaking right now, you're going to end up working at Sam's Club, or you're going to be working part-time somewhere else while you're running your business. And that's some of the things that my wife and I had to do. We had to do whatever we had to do to save our brand. But one thing we're going to always do is save our brand. Why would we save our brand? I'm glad you asked me, because we're the first minority Black-owned roofing company to ever roof the skyline in Kansas City, Missouri. And that part right there, Mr. Woods, no one can take from us. We are the very first certified MBE, DBE, minority contracting roofing firm to roof the skyline, as well as certified applicator with the product we install. So we give out warranties and we know what we're doing. However, we're fighting an uphill battle because the city will not empower the Fairness Board or somebody who can mediate or hold general contractors accountable. And that's my only gripe with the city. Quit giving the bully the opportunity to bully us more.
All right. Very clear. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Comments.
May I
Please
comment on that?
Reintroduce yourself.
Yeah, Alex Gonzalez Construction. Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Marcus, how you doing, brother? Good to see you again.
How you doing, man?
So, Mark, I have very different experience. I did have an issue 2017. Gary, he passed unfortunately years ago, but he did come and he fixed it right away, no problem. However, on the board, Marcus was mentioning, I agree with him on the part that we need to have more participation from contractors, MBE, WB contractors on that board, especially on the Hispanic Contractors Association. I requested to be part of that board, and there's two individuals, Mr. Perez and Mr. Maiven, represent the same organization, and they're taking 2 seats. This is associations, construction associations. Marcus, I mean, he he should be there. He should have a voice. He should be part of that board. So that's something that the city should consider, to bring a small contract certified to be part of that board. Maybe for a year, maybe graduate, change somebody else, you know. But that board has been there for I don't know how long. And I don't see what's going on, or there's have any plans to solve, because there's a lot of issues flooring that I see now that I didn't realize needs to be more involvement there. But that's my 2 cents. Thanks, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'll say, John, that, you know,
Reintroduce yourself to me. Reintroduce yourself. Since
I'm sorry. Elaine Hamilton with Innovative Materials. I would say, to a large extent, Marcus and I are in agreement in that regard, but which is why I you know, this is about the comprehensive overall city procurement process. I don't even look at the city to go after any procurements the city have at. Yeah, I can't even remember the last time I've looked at going after something with the city, because I found if you don't have very kind of set specific relationships, historic relationship in that regard, and it's okay, because that's what you need to be able to build those relationships. But in terms of course, all of our interest, the majority of our interest is in the probably construction environment. Mine is at the very end in terms of finishing with architectural materials and commercial furniture. Oddly enough, I didn't know I fell into a realm that there is nobody else here in this space in terms of an MW business. So most of our concerns are there. I don't apply when I get MBWB, you know, reach out, can you apply for this because you're an M&W company. If I don't have a relationship with that company, I just like totally will not quote them, because it's just a waste of my, you know, there's a continued waste of my time and energy. In fact, I'm even narrowing it to the point where unless we have already met, I've given you real clear understanding about what we do. Like any business, you want to have a certain level of trust. I do find that there are certain industries that just don't have any relationships, and not relationships, but don't get any business at all. The city is just literally not looking for your business, your type of business. And I think they need to be really clear about that. Literally for years, I'm just applying every year. Actually, I'm fine with the application process. We don't have any problem with it. It's all automated. I'm good with that. We get through that really on the admin area, just really easily every year. But in terms of being, we wouldn't be able to keep going if we just focus on quoting, focused on city contracts or whatever. That's totally out. I'd be sitting on the street. Honestly, I'd be sitting on the street if I had to focus on quoting to primes or going after city contracts.
So basically quoting the primes, but never ever being used.
Not just being, it's just a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. If you don't, I mean, to some degree, you can almost understand it, because it's still like hiring somebody to paint your house. If you're forced to have somebody paint your house, but you don't have a relationship with them, you haven't seen them paint somebody else's house, there's a certain level of trust that has to, you know, be in place to have a long-term relationship. If you see the painter paint your neighbor's house, they show up every day, they, you know, get the job done, you're more apt to call them to paint your house. So from a prime's perspective, I can understand that, but what they do is they hire these third-party, you know, participants, organizations, or whatever, to come market to us, to come to these events. J.E. Dunn has them all the time. Come to these events, blah, blah, blah. You're either not utilizing my services or you haven't utilized me before. So that I just don't, you know, sometimes they're just good to go to be there, but in terms of like Zoom calls from third party people that are hired on the third party to, you know, to promote us, to, you know, procure to, you know, quote their jobs. No, won't do those anymore.
So just, I'm gonna get a little clarity on something. So are you saying that the city could do more of that in terms of helping build relationships, or?
They definitely could do that. They could, but you know, they have to do it differently. It's not almost all the primes in town hold this and host that and whatever. They just need to be really, yeah, I was like, for instance, next month I have a lunch date or a meeting with a particular, you know, prime contractor. I've already reached out to them. They know who we are. Can we meet in private? Can we, you know, what do you really need? You know, you have to, it is part of building that relationship. I think the way I was always marketed to, through the city, through other primes, to come to their events, to, you know, to quote their projects. Those just never really worked out at all. And if I were to stay in that lane, I'd be sitting on the street. I mean, literally, my business would be shut down right now today. The inconsistency, there are certain industries, like the brother who has Dubois Engineering Companies, the fine engineering companies have really good, you know, they've done a really good job. You know, there's a great need. So I think it's really defining, what do you really need? Because you don't need all industries, and you're not hiring all industries. As a video production company, graphic art company, you know, all animation, those aren't things that you really need, but I'm steady marketed to become certified, to, you know, and so much of it was a waste of time and energy. You know, it's become more productive now because I changed industries, but it's still not in a way that if you host an event or whatever, it means I'm going to get your business.
Okay, all right, thank you, thank you. Is there anyone else, please? Now's your chance.
Yes, I like to add to that a little bit.
Reintroduce yourself.
I'm Latasha Crawford. I'm with Miscellaneous Staffing Services. And so we won our contract initially back in 2022 is when we won. We bid it in 2021. And so here was the web of situation that we were in, right? It was just a huge entangled web. So we won the bid as a prime because we it as a prime. And then we were required to also have a sub, or to subcontract part of the contract out. So as a business, you start out with $0 and you have to sub out the money that you already haven't gotten yet, right? You have to sub out at least 10% of what you don't have. Now we're listed as small businesses, disadvantaged businesses, which comes with a financial reporting responsibility, right? Because if you're too big of a company, then you're basically not even an MBE or WBE at all. And so I win a bid as a prime, and then I also same bid as a sub. I win a bid as a prime. I win the same bid as a subcontractor to another prime. And so I'm a prime as well as a sub. I have to sub out the same contract to another sub. And so, but the money doesn't change. And so the profit margin for this particular contract becomes either I just perform the job without using a subcontractor, or if we had to use a subcontractor, we wouldn't make any type of profit on our contract at all. And so that is the situation, or the web of situations that we get caught up in. And so a lot of times when I do go to bid a contract with the city of Kansas City, then I'm asking the question, I'm already WBE, MBE, SLBE, HBE. I'm all of these certifications. Do I have to, or is it required that I would have to also sub out 10% of the contract? Mind you that as a small business, I'm competing with multi-million-dollar franchise companies that are, either international or even global and located outside of the United States, right? And so when it comes to winning bids, that is one situation that we may be tangled in, which puts us, if you was to pull the data, it looks like we have several contracts, right? But because it wasn't very profitable, the person that I subbed it out to, the company that I subbed it out to, they, pulled out where they don't even want to perform anything on the bid. So when it comes to compliance, I have to constantly report that they no longer wish to participate. And even the larger that I'm a sub to, they would not even communicate with us, and they wouldn't sub anything to us at all. And so we have to perform as a prime. So I think that, I would love to see more customizing of contracts and breaking big, large contracts down to meet and to fit with smaller companies. As far as like, we're a staffing agency, we do HR, we do payroll, things of that nature, letting us just perform a portion of a large contract and letting us be prime without requiring us to also sub things out. So, it's fair, but then it just works as a double negative.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. Ms. Colleen White, please. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Colleen White, and I have a company called Strategic Workplace Solutions, and I'm in the process of retiring, but I've spent many years working around the city and working on city M&WBE issues, along with a few other folks that are on this call. I just want to make a couple comments. Alex mentioned earlier about the Fairness Board, and I think Mr. Williams did too. That is something that really does need some work. The Fairness Board used to have a much more broader reach of activities and work that they did, and now it's pretty much limited to just appeals, and there's no opportunity to work on setting goals or anything like that. And there's also a Fairness Board set in the ordinance for goods and services, but it has never been enacted. So somebody selling toilet paper or secretarial services or whatever isn't afforded the same level of goals and activity that the Fairness and Construction Board does, or that the construction service part does. So there's a whole realm of work out there for people that are certified that would be amped up greatly if that Fairness and Goods and Services Board was put to use and actually enacted.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. Ms. Bosby, Ms.
Morning.
Keisha, hi, good morning.
Hello. So just sharing, you asked the question just from the perspective of
Can you introduce yourself and who you work
sorry,
with?
Keisha Bosby with J.E. Dunn Construction. Good morning, everybody. Just to respond to the question about the experience with the procurement process with the city of Kansas City. I would say GCs are a little different, obviously, in the way that we procure and kind of do some of the work with the city, as what we've heard from a lot of the companies on the line. However, I think our engagement, is similar in just some of the impact that I see. I sympathize, a lot with what I've heard on the line already, because I know a lot of the people on the line. And so I have heard some of those pain points from them. And I understand their pain is because it really stalls some of their opportunities. And that's, a lot of the pain points that I hear from them today. And that I also have seen just, in the day-to-day business and in their engagement with the city. I will say too, that our team would probably echo and say that the communication can be slow sometimes, and just making, contact with the right people to get, the right things that you need. And I'll say that permitting is one of those things that I've heard a lot from our project teams. It's just really, getting in that permitting cycle and getting with the right folks and getting all that in a timely manner. Sometimes our teams seem a little confused with just the process and the documents that are required to kind of get projects, set up and rolling initially. And so we've basically dedicated some staff internally just to really kind of work and focus on city projects so that, they're well versed on those processes, documents, et cetera. And, we don't have any stalls when we are trying to onboard and get, projects started with that procurement piece. The MWBE database is something else that kind of stalls the procurement because of the way that the scopes are listed. It's more of a narrative, and that's hard to sort. And everyone doesn't use NAICS codes or some of the other codes that are in the system. And so I would just encourage maybe just really kind of cleaning that up a little bit, if you will, and helping us to be able to filter that better so that we can utilize the certified firms that are in there. But lastly, I'll say one thing that we found to be very helpful, as a solution for most of this sometimes is just communicating with them early and often and trying to get some one-on-one FaceTime with them prior to, these projects kicking off that we're usually responsible for. And that usually, is a lot of their team members from the CREO and some of the other departments, but just kind of really sitting down and just kind of level setting and getting clarity on a lot of the questions that we kind of anticipate. So that's been something that we've done as a best practice to try to help alleviate some of these things that I did mention. But again, I do truly sympathize again with the trade partners on the line because I've heard some of those pain points from them a lot over the years.
Thank you so much. I know we're close on getting close to the approaching the end of our time, but I would like to hear from a couple more people if possible. I see Ms. Holiday is on the line and Ms. Stephanie Connor. Do either one of you have any comments about what you've heard or your experiences?
Just listening today, John.
Okay, thank you. How you doing, Gail?
Hey, John.
And Stephanie.
Hey, Stephanie Connor with Turner Construction. I just wanted to reiterate what Keisha was saying about the directory and how difficult it is to navigate, especially when we're trying to create a bid list and separate out who should be invited to what. Sometimes we just have to do a best guess, which doesn't feel like the right thing to do, or a larger net, which then invites people that maybe shouldn't be because they don't provide the correct services. And so by default, we get a lot of frustration on our end because it probably looks like we don't know what we're doing, or maybe we're just doing it because we have to, but there's a lot of nuance in trying to effectively use what should be a resource. The other thing that is not in the directory that would be very helpful for us, it does not list certification dates. So if somebody was recently certified, we'd love to know that. If someone is coming up on certification, we also want to be a partner to the city and try to help navigate that as best as we can. But it's hard. That's all.
Okay, thank you. I believe that people are also adding to the chat, so I think we will take that in consideration as well. Is there anyone else before I turn it over to Ms. Clark?
I just want to say one last thing. Keisha and Stephanie, they do a fantastic job in the roles that they have and communicating, which, with large primes like J.E. Dunn with Turner. But honestly, once it gets past their area and you go to go further, it just kind of like lands and dies right there, and particularly with Turner. So I've gone to events and, reached out. I have, quoted some recent projects with J.E. Dunn. Because we added we're a dealer also, so we add an additional service with a subcontractor. But a lot of times they just, they go past there. They're still really looking for price. They kind of really just, I've just found that they die right past there unless you're working really, really, really hard. And so many of us don't have the resources to continue to pound and pound and pound. We have to, we have to go with who actually is literally utilizing our services or our products. For me, products predominantly.
Thank you. Thank you again, Ms. Hamilton. Appreciate your comments. Courtney, would you like to come in and
Yeah.
make some closing
I want to thank you all for your comments today. I know there are several people on the call who haven't commented yet. So we do have a little bit of time if you guys would like to comment. For those who have not spoken, I want to ensure that everyone has an opportunity to speak because I know we have many people on the call. So for anyone who has any comments that has not spoken, please feel free to come forward and share those now.
I can mention some names.
I know we have Stacy on here and Cindy, George. Do any of you have any comments that you would like to mention?
Hi, I'm Cindy Geyer and I could comment. I actually have 2 certifications. One is for an engineering for my own, CMG Fire Protection Engineering, and the other is for a fire alarm contracting business, Soteria Fire Safety. They're both woman-owned. I own Soteria with a business partner, another female. And concerning the certification process, CMG has been certified for roughly 20 years, really since I started it about 21 years ago. It was painful at first. It was all paper back then. You know, there've been a lot of comments made, and the renewal process now is very sweet, very slick. We just have to follow and check all the boxes and get everything in a timely manner. And the certification comes through. I've been certified in a couple hours on a recertification, and I've been certified in a couple days. So I really have to say that that process is much, much better than it used to be. And I hope it stays on that same track. I really, as long as I give you everything you need and a couple things that I know you need that may not actually be on that list, then it's a very smooth process. As far as work with the city, we have not had any opportunities with either one of my companies to work directly with the city, and it may be because of what we do. I'm a consultant. I work for architects and engineers in CMG Fire, so that may not flow directly into the city doing code and life safety and fire protection design. My fire alarm business, we normally work for electrical contractors. So to respond to some of the comments that have been made, we work with electrical contractors we know will use us and aren't just bid shopping. So when we're contacted by someone like Turner Construction, we give them that answer. Let us know who your electricals are. Let us know if, you know, there's somebody that we normally work with, and we will work with them. But we've had the same frustrating experience that others have voiced. We don't just send bids out to everybody helping to get any project in Kansas City, Missouri, because our hit rate on that was between 1% and 5% when we first started for the first several years. And then we've gone to strictly business relationships, contractors that we deal with frequently. And like I said, we know if they get the work, we'll get the work. And so that's been a very satisfying relationship. I get emails, I can't tell you how many every day, from large general contractors asking, because we're on the city's list, are we bidding a project? And no, we're not bidding it directly to them. We'll bid it, like I said, to an electrical contractor. So that's just a cleaning my email box every single day and getting rid of those. That works for that. But in general, comment on the whole process. It's not a golden ticket to make my company successful. I still have to be successful as the owner of the business in whatever I'm doing, whether it's engineering or whether it's contracting. It's really up to me to make that business a success. And I think there's some misunderstanding. If I'm on the city's list and I'm certified WBE, then that'll bring me work, and it doesn't. You have to get the work yourself. It's not just handed to you. And then final comment on no, I'll just drop it right there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Kitchen?
Yes, my name is Alice Kitchen, Gender Equity Task Force for the Kansas City Human Rights Commission. So I'm not directly involved, but I've heard a number of different comments. So I have some questions. Are there women on the board, the resolution board, and are there consequences for contractors who are expected to meet those quotas, which have been, what, 14%? What are the consequences when they don't do it?
So Ms. Kitchen, we are not representatives of the city, so we can't necessarily speak to their policies concerning consequences or anything like that. So any questions like that would have to be addressed with the city specifically. We are more so here to kind of hear your guys' experience, maybe contracting with the city, maybe why you haven't or anything like that. So we unfortunately can't answer questions like that on this call.
We do encourage you to contact the city though with this question though.
Okay, so we're coming up here on time. I want to thank you all. My name is Courtney Clark. For anyone who hasn't caught it in the earlier part of the conversation, I am the project manager on the Kansas City 2026 disparity study. I want to thank you all for commenting, for sharing your thoughts. You guys had great enthusiasm on this call, and it is greatly appreciated. This portion of our study is integral for, forming the recommendations and the analysis and findings for our overall study. So everything that you shared today will be used in consideration in the final study. We do have 2 other sessions scheduled. If anyone who might have thoughts later, they want to join, please feel free to do that. We have one on Tuesday of next week at the same time or 6 p.m. I'm sorry, and then Thursday at 10 a.m. again, and those are virtual. So feel free to join those if you would like to add any additional comments. You can also message our study email, and I'm going to put this in the chat. It's kcmodisparitystudy@gspclaw.com. And also on the horizon, for those who would also like to share their experience further, we will have a survey of business owners that is launching at the end of July. And I will be reaching out to all of you for participating in that. So keep a lookout on that. We will ask about your business, your capacity, and things of that nature for use in our private sector chapter. So again, I want to thank you all for your participation, for sharing your comments. If anyone has further things they would like to share, feel free to email our study. Feel free to join any of our sessions, and just be on the lookout for the business owner survey. So thank you all, and thank you to Phillips West, John Wood, for moderating this session. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
All right, everyone, thank you for coming. I hope you have a good rest of your day. John, if you'd like to stick around, I'll touch base with you.
Sure.